Deciphering English, Demystifying Object Pronouns and Relative Clauses. Hello language learners. Welcome back to our channel. Today, we're diving deeper into the wonderful world of English grammar. Specifically, we're going to explore object pronouns and relative clauses. You're going to master how to identify them and use them accurately in your English sentences. So, buckle up, grab your notes, and let's get started. Before we jump into identifying object pronouns, let's take a quick detour to remind ourselves what relative clauses are. A relative clause is a kind of clause that describes a noun, noun phrase, or pronoun in the sentence. It typically starts with a relative pronoun such as who, which, that, etc. For example, in the sentence, "The book that I read was interesting," that I read is the relative clause describing the book. Now, let's move on to the real meat of our lesson today, object pronouns. In a relative clause, the relative pronoun can be the subject or the object of the clause. When the relative pronoun is the object, we call it an object pronoun. For instance, in the sentence, "The man who I saw was tall." Who is the object pronoun in the relative clause, who I saw, because I is the subject and saw is the action being done to who. Time for some practice. Identifying object pronouns is easier than you might think. Firstly, remember that object pronouns in relative clauses usually come after the subject and before the verb. Secondly, the object pronoun refers to the noun before the relative clause. Let's take an example. "The dog that my brother adopted is very friendly." Here, that is the object pronoun, my brother is the subject, and adopted is the verb. And that's a wrap for today's lesson. You now know how to identify object pronouns in relative clauses. Remember, practice is the key to mastering any language, so make sure to apply what you've learned in your day-to-day conversations. Stay tuned for our next lesson where we'll practice using object pronouns in relative clauses. Until then, keep practicing, and happy learning.